All right, we can dive into our segment, calling it deep dives.
How do you want to do it? Do you want me to go? Because I don't want to go through all my teams and you go. Do you want to do like one by one? So I say my team and you say your team, and just go that.
Oh yeah. We can do that. And you can go ahead and start it out.
Ryan, my first team that needs to rebuild.
Wait, first of all, before you say anything, how many teams do you have?
3 to 4.
What do you mean 3 to 4? It's a concrete number. You have these teams.
I have 4 teams, but I'm debating whether or not to say the last one because the last one's kind of controversial.
Okay.
My first team is the Nets. They need to blow it up, man.
I'm about to.
Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me explain why, okay? As we know, the past 3 years has not been good. It's been very disappointing for the Brooklyn Nets with the injuries and Kyrie missing games due to personal things on and off the court. Kyrie, I don't see a way he comes back and plays for the Nets this year. As we know, I really don't. I don't see it, dude. I'm telling you right now. I don't see him coming back to the Nets. I don't. You think Kyrie's going to do all those things? Kyrie's a very stubborn person. You could barely get an apology out for him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So right now, if I was the Nets, I'd see if I can get anything for Kyrie. A pick, anything. I'll take anything for Kyrie. If I can't get anything, okay, I'll release him. It's okay. I'll release him. I'd say trade KD.
You'd release Kyrie Irving.
If no one's going to take him. And I'm telling you, they don't want no one. If no one wants him, I'd say release him because he's too big of a distraction on and off the court. So I let go of Kyrie or see if I can get anything for Kyrie. Then, this is very interesting because I don't really care about the back-to-back games they won. That was just KD playing out of his mind, so I'm not taking that much off of that. I trade KD, okay? Because KD, we all know he wants to get traded. I see if I can get a trade for him. I see if that Brown deal is still available. I trade for Brown, and maybe if Celtics want to throw another quality pieces around them, maybe like a Marcus Smart, Grant Williams, Robert Williams. If they want to let go of those players, I do that deal. Or I trade KD to Phoenix. Now this is kind of hard because you trade KD for Aiden to make it work. It depends if Cam Johnson will be healthy at that time. I don't think he will, but if I try to get KD for Aiden, and then if I can't get Cam Johnson, I just get picks around him. So I do that, and then I build around Aiden and Simmons. Now Simmons, I'll build around Simmons just because it's a 4-year contract, and I'm hoping he can just mentally get better and just play better, hopefully. Mm-hmm. So I'd go with that. This team, I can see this team returning to contention if everything goes as planned in 2 years. They need a new coach. If you want to keep John, what's his name again?
Jacques Vaughn.
If they want to keep him for the rest of the year so they can just try it out with if the trade goes down, I'd do it. But then I'll get a new head coach. Just start clean everything. Keep Simmons. I trade KD for Cam Johnson, Aiden, and picks. Or Brown, Grant Williams, Robert Williams, Marcus Smart, and some picks. I do that for the Nets and then just start clean.
All right. Are you done?
Hold on, baby.
Okay. Just tell me when you're done.
Yeah, but that's what I'm thinking right now. Because I really don't believe Kyrie's coming back to the Nets. Joe Tsai is always I don't know if he have Twitter or anything, but he's always last night when they won that game against Washington, he posted a tweet saying it's good to play like a team again. That is a shot at Kyrie. And then the reports of Joe Tsai, Kyrie, Joe Tsai was trying to talk to Kyrie, but he had to talk to Kyrie's stepmom about him apologizing about the film he posted on Twitter. So he didn't speak to Kyrie directly. He spoke to his stepmother. You think Joe Tsai likes that? If he's paying Kyrie $40 million a year, he wants to actually talk to Kyrie. He doesn't want to talk to his stepmom. So I think Kyrie's done with Brooklyn at this point. Joe Tsai doesn't want him. Sean Marks doesn't want him. I don't even know if KD. I know KD loves him as a brother, but I don't even know if he wants to play with him anymore. Just because how much he's caused off the court controversy.
Okay. Are you done?
Oh, I'll tell you. I build around Ben Simmons. If I can't get Aiden or Brown, I'll build around them, and then I'll build around Cam Thomas. He had a great year last year, promising rookie.
Oh yeah, I know about Cam.
But
Thomas.
That's what I would do if I was Brooklyn. I'd rebuild. You're not going anywhere this year. Even if they go to the playoffs, I see them losing the first and second round. They're not being Milwaukee. They're not being the Cleveland. That defense is too horrendous. Like you said, one coach isn't going to change the team's perspective on how to play defense. It needs to be a collective group. I don't think a coach can just flip that around not midway, but a quarter through the season.
Anything else you'd like to say?
I am done.
I just find it hilarious. How's Kyrie Irving gonna win MVP?
You know who my MVP is, Ryan? Can you take a guess? Oh, it's his side partner, Kyrie Irving.
No, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. No, that's not happening. You're crazy.
I am not.
You're crazy.
Let me explain.
Go ahead. Yeah, you have a lot to explain. If he's either getting released.
He's not my MVP pick. He's not my MVP pick no more. I'm sorry. I didn't know all this shit was gonna happen, dude. If you would have told me this before, I would not have picked him. I wasn't expecting Kyrie to say the shit that he would say and get suspended for 5 games. I wasn't expecting that.
Oh man. All right. Cause it's gonna be hard to rebuild, especially for them. Because they gave up a lot of picks, a lot of their own picks, to get James Harden. They gave up a lot of those picks to get James Harden.
Yeah.
And then they ended up getting Ben Simmons. So they don't have a lot of their picks moving forward. If you rebuild this team, they're going to be bad for at least 1 year. So it's not like they're going to have their pick for that year. It's going to go, I don't know who it goes to. It goes to somebody. And then, honestly, would it even, if you trade Kevin Durant to either Boston or Phoenix, both of those teams are going to be really good. They're going to be top 3 seeds in their respective conferences. So it's not like those picks in themselves are going to be valuable each year. But then again, if you're the Celtics and if you're the Nets or you're trading with the Celtics and you want Jaylen Brown, that would be a really good piece to start your rebuild with. But I feel like that ship might have sailed.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know, but
because say if they release Kyrie, say if he never plays for Brooklyn again, what happens at that moment? There's going to be reports. I think there was a report a couple of days ago about the Nets were still exploring trade for KD. Something like that.
The Celtics?
I don't know if it was the Celtics or the Nets. I don't remember. Because once that Kyrie news hit, it was all downhill from there. About him getting suspended for 5 games. And if he doesn't play again for the Nets, you can't tell me KD's not going to want to be the one carrying the team again. And Ben Simmons is still out with injury. We don't know how long he's going to be out for.
To be honest, it doesn't really matter what KD wants. He's on a long-term contract. You know?
Yeah.
So,
if I was just like, why would I just want to rebuild if if you let go of Kyrie, you're not winning a title just with KD by yourself. You might as well just rebuild.
You invested so much.
I know.
Into this team being a fucking championship contender. You signed KD. You signed Kyrie. KD misses the first season. Whatever. The season after COVID, KD's back. Plays some games with Kyrie. You end up trading Jared Allen and a shit ton of picks and Karis LeVert
Yeah.
to get James Harden. The three of them, they're supposed to be the best big three in basketball. They're supposed to be untouchable. That ends up imploding. And you try to make it work again. Trading James Harden in the middle of the season to get Ben Simmons, who doesn't even play for the remainder of the season, let alone the playoffs. And then next season you're going in, you're thinking you're going to have a big three of Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Ben Simmons. And obviously all of this shit happens. Like, there was so much shit that was done for this team to be a contender. I don't
But
know
they're
if
not
you can
even
just,
a contender at this point. You know what I mean? They're not a contender.
yeah, but
Look at it. They
I
were
don't
the
know,
eighth
man.
seed last year, and they got swept.
I don't know if you can just offload everybody at this point. I think you just got to see it through.
I'll tell you what. So, would your opinion change if Kyrie doesn't play for the Nets again? Say if they release him and he doesn't play with the Nets, so it's just KD and Ben Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
Would you think they would? I forgot. I lost my thought.
If they release Kyrie, would I say that they should rebuild?
Yeah. Or
Nope.
would you just go through with KD and Ben Simmons?
I'd retool my team around KD. There's still Steph Curry, Joe Harris, Ben Simmons. Like, there's got to be a way
But
that I can
Seth
retool
Curry
around.
he's been sidelined with injury as well. So he's been out, in and out of the lineup, and Joe Harris hasn't really looked that consistent this season. So there's a lot of question marks with the other players on this team. It's not just Kyrie and Ben Simmons.
That's true, but like at the end of the day, I got to see this thing all the way through.
Whew.
You know, you got to see it all the way through. I can't give up now. Like, sure, maybe they're not championship contenders, but if I'm an owner and I still have Kevin Durant on my team, he's still gonna sell tickets.
True,
I'm
true.
still gonna have a competent NBA team. So I might as well just see that through for the rest of his fucking contract, and tell my GM to try and retool around him to be a contender. Sheesh, you said your third or fourth one was gonna be surprising. This one was surprising.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with the Kings.
All right.
So Kings haven't made the playoffs in like 16 or 17 years. De'Aaron Fox, they drafted 5 years ago, turned into their franchise player. Has looked really good this year. In like his first 4 or 5 years, team was nowhere near. Or 1 year they were close, but nobody really saw them as a playoff team. They've really been picked to make the playoffs. Last year, they trade away Tyrese Halliburton to get Sabonis as like a win now move. We saw half a season of it in which De'Aaron Fox was playing his best basketball. Sabonis was looking good, but the wins still weren't really piling up. We are 7 or 8 games into the season. This season. Anyway, well, they're 3-5, and it took a game winner against the Orlando Magic to be 3-5 and not be 2-6. I think it's time for them to rebuild. I think they're gonna realize that sooner rather than later, that the De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis tandem isn't gonna be one that can take them to a playoff spot in the Western Conference. Like, on paper, this dynamic duo is really good. Like, it's 2 all-stars, you know, and you got a pretty good supporting cast with highlighted by Keegan Murray. Harrison Barnes was supposed to be a part of that good supporting cast, but goodness, he's shooting 18.5% from 3. Malik Monk has looked a little better, but like, long story short, this is not really a playoff team, honestly. And I don't think is Mike Brown, right?
Yeah, Mike Brown.
I don't really think Mike Brown is the coach to take them to the playoffs. I think this team just has a hard ceiling right now, as currently constructed, and I think they're closer to a rebuild than really contending, honestly. And I think that they should just probably offload Fox and
Wow.
Sabonis sooner rather than later
Wow.
and start building around Keegan Murray. Still got Davion Mitchell, who isn't getting as much playing time as he got last year, so his stats are a little down, but he had a really promising year last year. Keegan Murray's looked really good. Those can be two of your prime building blocks moving forward. And yeah, trade Fox for some
So
first
what
round
would
picks
you?
and stuff,
Okay.
and Sabonis. But
Damn.
I don't think you can get first for Sabonis really. Maybe you can get a couple, but not like a lot. A lot. You probably get one or two. But I think it's time for a clean slate for them, man.
I feel like Fox is one of those players. I don't know. I don't know if it'd be a good thing to trade him. I agree with trading Sabonis, but I don't know about Fox because he's, to me, he's a solid player in this league.
Of course, he's a solid player in this league. I'm
But
not. I'm not saying
I wouldn't want to trade him.
I would want to trade Fox if I'm a Sacramento Kings GM because Fox deserves to be on a fucking contending team. It's my fault that he hasn't been
Yeah.
on a contending team because I haven't been able to build one around him, and he's starting to waste his prime years in Sacramento.
Yeah.
You know, he's starting to do so. I think Fox was in the same draft as Donovan Mitchell, and Donovan Mitchell made the playoffs every single year in Utah.
That's a good point.
Fox hasn't had one playoff appearance at all. At fucking all, bro. And it's not like if you're trading away Fox and resetting, it's not like you're throwing away an opportunity or an opportunity based off of recent success. There's been no recent success to base it off of
Yeah.
at all.
They've been bad. So what would you? So would you just want to get a bunch of picks for Fox? Would you want to get like some? How you just would want picks, right?
I would
I'm
prioritize
assuming.
picks.
Yeah. What about for Sabonis? Same thing. Because I don't think you can't get as much
Young
on
pieces. I was mad when they made the trade for him. I thought they should have definitely fucking kept Tyrese Halliburton.
You were a big fan of him.
Definitely, bro. Definitely would have kept him. Tried a little backcourt of De'Aaron and Tyrese, and if it didn't work out, I definitely would have traded De'Aaron
Wow.
and built around Tyrese Halliburton.
I mean, people were saying if you had to let one of them, some people were saying Fox because Tyrese had so much potential. And
Yeah.
he's showing it right now with Indiana.
And this is not at all to say that Fox is a bad player. He's having the best year of his career. But the bottom line is the fact that this team hasn't sniffed playoff contention at all. And
I get you.
sometimes it's both sides that need a fresh start. All right, moving on. Who is your second team?
I got the Magic.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, in my opinion, I don't think they were trying to rebuild at the start of the season. I thought they were trying to be competitive, but they just didn't. They played against good quality teams. They just didn't have enough around them to compete against them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're just trying to just develop Paolo and the young rookies or the young players they have on their team. They got Wagner, Suggs, Cole Anthony, who's out with injury, Fultz, who's out, and Bobo. The first player I'm going to talk about is probably Bobo. I'm very happy to see him finally get minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Surprising to say he's actually averaging 2 blocks a game, same as Mobley, which shocked me. Yeah, no. One thing I love about Bobo is he can run and push the ball, and especially at his size, there's not a lot of players that can do that. I think he's like 7'1", 7'2". He has a great handle for his size. He can get to the paint with his dribble, and he can score at the paint efficiently just because of his size. I don't really see any flaws with his game at this point because he doesn't really shoot the 3 that consistent. I think he only shoots 2 of them a game, and he makes 1 of them. So he's not really a 3-point shooter like that, but he can shoot it if he was open. And you got Frank Fans Wagner.
Oh my god.
I wish I was gonna say it like in a British accent. I don't know why, but his last name is funny. But I see him. He's an all-around type player. I think when you mentioned him a couple videos, he kind of said the same thing. Yeah. He's an all-around player. Makes great passes. Kind of reminds me of a Draymond Green, but he can score more easily than Draymond. He has a nice handle. Very controlled, not forced. He's a solid 17, 4-4. So I really like him. Of course, their franchise player is Paolo Bancheros. So he's I'm gonna talk about him, and he's for sure right now the front runner for the Rookie of the Year. He's been a monster, mainly scoring. He can block shots. Nice handle with the ball. One thing I would like to see him develop is a more consistent mid-range to three-point shot. Shooting the three at 23%, which is not good. Yeah. I'd like to see him maybe be more so a playmaker too. He's only averaging 3.6 assists, which is not bad for a rookie. But he's dominating scoring wise and rebounding wise, 23 and 8, which isn't bad. As well, I would like to see him develop a post fade. He has the strength to get space off his defenders. So if he can develop a consistent post fade, he'd be very... I can see his scoring go up to maybe 26, 27 next year if he develops that. But yeah, I mean, and I like this team going forward. I think they can be competitive and maybe... Well, I had them being competitive this year, but that wasn't the case. But if everyone's healthy, I really believe they can be competitive maybe next year, maybe be a playing team, maybe get that 10 seed and compete for the 8 seed. But yeah, that's who I have as my second team. I got the Magic.
Okay, yeah. There's no real arguments there. I expected them to be on your list. Oh, yeah. Did you do the level of optimism?
Oh, yeah.
What was it for the Nets?
The Nets, if everything goes as planned, which is a stretch, I gave them an 8 on my notes. 8.
Wow, okay.
Just depending on if they can get... I really like Brown. If they can get Brown and compare him up with Simmons, I really like that duo. And then with the Magic, I actually gave them a 10 on how optimism I'm moving forward. Just because they have so many great pieces. With Suggs as well, you got Jalen Suggs, who's played kind of inconsistent, but he had that big game against the Warriors. Maybe if he can continue to have more games like that, and then if Cole Anthony can come back healthy and Fultz, I really see this team being really good for the next couple of years.
So my next team, the Rockets.
All right, I saw that one coming.
So, team is very, very, very young. Very young. And their best prospects, they're putting up numbers, KBJ and Jalen Green. But last year it didn't translate to winning. Not too shocking. Like Jalen Green, that was his first year. And that was KBJ's first year like as a full-time starting point guard. So, yeah, I expected them to be one of the worst teams last year. This year is kind of the same story. They're putting up numbers, and the wins haven't followed. Something that still doesn't surprise me because of how young this team is. And that's not something that they can control. That's something that the front office should really control. Because when you're doing a rebuild, you don't want to just throw out fucking 15, 20-year-olds and say, all right, y'all figure it out.
Yeah.
That's not how you have an efficient rebuild, an effective rebuild. There has to be some sorts of veteran guidance. And there's not much of that on this team right now. Like, the only veteran that comes to the top of my head is Eric Gordon and Boban.
And Boban don't really count.
Yeah, Boban is, he's Boban. Boban. Eric Gordon is, he's probably, a cool veteran, but I don't really think he wants to be there. I think he's dreadful there, because he's literally the only veteran amongst the whole whole group of just motherfuckers in their third or second year or less than that.
He can't relate to them.
Not at all. There's no other vets on this team, and That's something that's really going to slow down your rebuild and slow down the growth of your young guys. Not in terms of their actual game, but more so the mental side of basketball.
Mm.
With that being said, Jalen Green is struggling to start the year, shooting 37 from the field. And he's getting 19 a game, but like I said, 37 from the field, 35 from three. And he hasn't really grown his ability to get others involved, only getting 2 assists per game. I don't think that's a big jump from last year. Last year, 2.6. Now he's down to 2.2.
I don't get, because this team's record right now, sorry to cut you off, but aren't they 1-7, 1-8?
1-9.
1-9. If you look at this team on paper, they don't look like a bad team. They look like they have great players on this team.
Yeah.
They
have talent.
They have a lot of talent.
They definitely do, but
it's just not translating the wins.
Not translating. I think a lot of that comes down to a lack of veteran presence. Their coach is in his 2nd or 3rd year, so he's still trying to figure shit out. And then their first overall, or their first pick, their first round pick was Jabari Smith, who is shooting 30.5% from the field.
That's
not look good.
And he hasn't. No one has been talking about him at all.
No, not at all.
No one.
Not at all. I had to do a lot of digging as to why he's shooting 30% from the field, and he's taking a lot of tough shots. They may be, well, a lot of them are contested mid-rangers. These are a lot of shots he took in college. Obviously, college defenses are different from NBA defenses. Yeah, he's just taking really inefficient shots, whether it be tough long twos that he's not hitting, 3-pointers early in the shot clock out of the triple threat, not even looking to get to the rim. Like he doesn't drive like at all. I know he's frail and he was hitting a lot of contested jumpers in college, but somebody's got to tell him, like, the jumper's not falling to start out the year. Get aggressive and get to the rim.
But I don't know if he can get to the rim. Because when you look at his dribble, it looks kind of fluky. You know what I mean? People were saying that when in the preseason, his handle looked kind of fluky. It didn't look as consistent as a regular guard or like a regular NBA player. You know, his handle looks sus if you look at it closely.
That's true, but with that being said, there's other ways to get to the rim that like are outside of just like off the dribble. Like he could definitely be more involved in screening and rolling, cutting off ball, running in the fast break, and even if his handle is a little high, like he should still show some willingness to try and drive to the rim. I have not seen any of that in I've seen 2 games, and they were like mirror images of each other. Like he was doing the exact same shit, taking the exact same shots. So that's a big problem. Also, like there's not a lot of playmaking on this team to really get him efficient shots inside. So it's kind of a recipe for disaster right now for him and this Rockets team as a whole. Anything else I wanted to? Oh, their center Sengun.
Bless you.
Good. Thank you. What's his name? Fucking Sengun or Shengun? I've heard it both ways, but whatever. The fucking European center, he's looked pretty decent in his 2nd year. He's got a throwback game.
Well, what would you say your level of optimism is for this team moving forward?
Oh, 6.
6? Alright, Ryan, this is very controversial. This is my last one. I'm going with this one.
I'm ready for anything.
You ain't ready for this one, I'll tell you that much. My last team. 76ers.
Oh my god.
Hear me out. Okay. Harden is out with injury for a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last year, he used the injury bug of his hamstring in the playoffs, saying he wasn't fully healthy, but now, and then this following season he's going to come up and he said, I'm fully healthy now. Now he's injured again. If I'm looking at this from a 76er standpoint, I'm looking at injury prone for the past 2 or 3 years, James Harden. I know you just signed that contract, James, and you got paid. Congratulations, but your time is over. Listen, if I trade James Harden right now, I'd build around Joel and build around Tyrese this year. Or for the future, right? I'd keep those two main pieces. I'd see if I can get anything for Tobias Harris. If I can get hold on.
I'm just gonna stop you right
I'm telling you, give me hold on. If I can get anything from Tobias, I'll trade him. Or if anything, I'll keep him. But this is the thing I would do with Harden. I wouldn't trade Harden for a superstar or a star at least. I'd trade him for quality pieces around him. You don't need another star with this team. You have Tyrese and Joel. Those two players right there, and if you get quality pieces around them, like let's say Cam Johnson or so like a Celtics deal like that, Marcus Smart, Grant. If you can get a package like that around Joel and Tyrese, that'd be amazing for this team. Don't you think? Think about it. I mean, James Harden right now, his trade value has gone up. He's averaging 22 and 10 and 7, if I'm not mistaken. You trade Harden, see how he looks coming back from injury. But Ryan, let's be honest. This is the same team as last year. It may be even worse because you're not even playing Thibault that much. This is the same team from last year. They're going to get beaten out in the second or first round again. I just don't. You need to switch it up. Build around Tyrese and Joel. Trade Harden for quality pieces, not superstar. Build around, like, get shooters, get defenders, get 3-and-D players. That way, you have more versatility offensively and defensively. That way, you can take the load off Joel. Because the thing about James Harden is, in the playoffs, if we're gonna get offensive Harden, he's gonna be dribbling, and that's gonna that's gonna hold the offense up. And we always saw that the first weeks of the NBA with the Sixers. We heard reports of Joel not getting the ball, James Harden dominating the ball. So I would like to see James Harden get traded if I'm the Sixers.
Interesting.
Like I said, they don't have to get a superstar. Just get quality pieces around them. Build around Joel and Tyrese.
Where are you going to get these quality pieces from?
What do you mean?
Well, you trade James Harden, you got to trade him to a team.
Well, I trade him I'd see what I can get from him. So Celtics have a lot of great players. The Suns, maybe Miami. Maybe get Tyler Hero, maybe Max Strus, or maybe...
Tyler Hero? Oh, no. The days of getting Tyler Hero are over. That ship has long since sailed.
I'm just giving you an example. I'm just saying these are players that you can maybe get. Maybe like Timberwolves or maybe Utah if they want to tank. If Danny Ainge doesn't like where the team is going, he wants to tank. Maybe get Jordan Clarkson and trade Mike Conley. You know what I mean? I'm just giving like examples.
Okay, but you say you get some 3-and-D wings. This is a good philosophy because Tyrese is proving that he can be a number 2.
Yeah, and he was playing better last year in the playoffs than Harden.
3-and-D wings. There has to be a destination. I need a destination where you're gonna get multiple 3-and-D wings from. And also a team that wants James Harden.
It just depends on, because Tyrese, like we said, has been hooping. His last 6 games, he's been averaging 34-4 and shooting 52% from the field goal. He's been hooping. I mean, I really don't see why you'd really want Harden. I mean, I just don't see why would you want him if you have a player stats wise better than Harden scoring, shooting, and from the 3. Of course, he doesn't bring the playmaking that Harden brings, but he can develop that. It's not like It's not like it's not like a, I don't know, but it's not like a big deal. I feel like Tyrese can develop that moving forward.
So, are you saying this team will be a better team without Harden this next month? Yes or no?
I wouldn't say better. I'd say they stay the same. I don't see them dropping off that much. I don't see them getting better. I mean, they might have maybe a 1 or 2 game positive record win side, but I don't see this team dropping off that much.
And when James Harden comes back, do you think this team will play better than what they started at?
That's
Or do
a
you
good,
think it's just going to be more of the same?
because that's a tough question. I think if I had to, if you want me to answer that question right now, I'd say they stay the same. I don't see them really getting better. I feel like they're gonna just stay the same. And we can see how the situation. We'll talk about it with the weeks coming along when we see how the Sixers look. But I really think they're gonna stay the same, even with Harden in the lineup.
Interesting.
And if they can't get anything for Tobias, I'd say okay, keep Tobias just so you can have another scoring option and just trade Harden.
Well, I'm telling you right now, they're not getting anything for Tobias Harris. You're not getting anything for Tobias Harris. I'm just gonna say this one real quick. The Spurs are rebuilding. This is like,
Yes.
you know, couple good players that are showing out. Well, Keldon Johnson showed out last year, and he's showing out this year. Good offensive forward. Devin Vassell is their second best offensive option. He was more of a 3-and-D guy out of college when he was drafted, but now he's getting more opportunity to showcase his offensive skill set, and he's dropping 20 a game. And the Spurs have actually been decent. They're not just bottoming out. I mentioned this with the Jazz, how they're not tanking for Wembanyama. The Spurs are 5-4 right now. So they're playing really hard. Similar situation. They don't have a lot of egos, and that's showing itself early on in the season.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no face of the franchise on this team. I expect them to end up still towards the end of the Western Conference. Probably not 15 because the Rockets are shit. So they'll probably be 13 or 14. For this team to get back into playoff consideration, they're going to have to find that guy to build around. And even though Keldon Johnson's played well the past couple of years, Devin Vassell's showing out right now, I don't think they have the guy that they can confidently build around. I mean, yeah, they got a lot of picks going forward, so. But I think this one was pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
And then you didn't have another one after that, right?
No.
Okay. So my last one is OKC. I'm actually really optimistic about their rebuild. I'm giving them a 9.5.
Woo.
Yeah, I'm giving them a 9.5 because their young core is really good. Shea is 24, so I view young core as 24 and younger.
Mm-hmm.
So Shea is in their young core, and he's a young star, budding superstar. He's literally dropping 30 a game. I love the improvements he's made over the past couple of years in terms of his efficiency and decision making and defensive impact. He's averaging 2.4 steals per game right now, which has got to be close to tops in the entire league. And defense was kind of the main thing missing from his game, and he's making his impact felt in that department. I talked about his mid-range game and his just overall natural feel for scoring. And then nitpicking just a little bit, he can improve his efficiency from 3, but that's not really essential to his game. He's still getting 30 per game. So with him as the face of their franchise, I think he can become a bona fide superstar, especially if OKC starts getting wins. So with him as the face of their team moving forward, that's already a good sign for their rebuild. And then you have Josh Giddey, who we talked about in the preseason episode. Great playmaker and rebounder. good inside scorer. Just hoping for some improvements to his aggression as a shot creator and consistency as a jump shooter. Kind of like similar things that we were hoping for, like improvements from Lonzo early on in his career.
Yeah.
I think if he adds those things to his game, he can definitely become an all-star in a couple years. And then Chet Holmgren is not going to play a single game this year, but I was really excited to see his fit with the team because he was going to be playing off of two really good playmakers in Shea and Shea and Josh. So I thought he was going to fit in like a glove and just be able to play off of those guys as a pick and roller, somebody to chill in like in the dunker spot. And he's a really good 3-point shooter, so he would be really deadly in the pick and pop as well. So yeah, I thought he was just going to fit right in for their offense, and then he already has an incredibly high defensive ceiling. So I think that was a fit that was made in heaven for him to go to OKC, because they really just needed a center. Their perimeter positions were pretty much filled out already. So be eager to see how he looks when he returns to the fold. And they also got Luguentz Dort, who's a athletic 3-and-D wing. Last year's 3-point shot was a bit more reliable than it is this year. I don't think he's shooting it really well, but he's only 23, so that's another piece of their young core. They don't really have to do much. They kind of just gotta hope that Chet can be impactful from day one, because I think this team is a year away from returning to the playoffs. Like, they could return next year if Chet can be impactful, as I think he is, and if he can fit right in, if Giddey can be a little bit more aggressive on the offensive end. And you know, this team still has a lot of draft picks that they got in multiple trades. So they might be able to use those draft picks in trades to get some more like win now veterans to really help this team and to win, you know, sooner rather than later.
Question: do you think this team could make the play-in at the 10 seed
this year?
Yeah, or do you think you need to look maybe 20 games into it, or is it too soon to say?
I think it's possible. I think it's possible, because the teams they're ahead of would be the Lakers. Let me just look at the standings. I haven't looked at the standings in a minute.
Lakers, Rockets.
The Warriors are going to make it, so they'll jump them, and the Kings. So I think, I think it's very likely that they finish over the Rockets, Lakers, and Kings.
Maybe the Spurs?
Yeah, the Spurs as well. I think the Spurs are going to fall a little bit.
Yeah.
So Rockets, Lakers, Kings, Spurs, that would put them at 11. And then if they could jump one more team, I think it's possible. I don't really know what team that would be. Maybe the Jazz fall back down to earth. Maybe, you know, injuries happen too to some teams.
Yeah, you're right.
So, yeah, I think they can definitely finish between like the 9 to 10 or 11 range. I'm surprised you didn't have some teams in your rebuild.
I had a couple, but I didn't want to make it too obvious, you know? Like, I had the Pistons, and I had the two other teams, but I just felt like those are kind of too obvious, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that. Did you have the Knicks?
I did not have the Knicks.
Did not have the Knicks.
No.
That's interesting.
Because the Knicks have been, I feel like they've been playing great ball, actually, in my opinion.
Yeah, they were a bit more earlier to start, but I think they kind of not fell back down to earth, but
took a step back a little bit.
Just maybe a slight one.
Do you have any, like, shocking predictions to make? Like, you know, you're like, oh, this is kind of, you know, out there.
I mean, because
no?
I think a lot of teams out west have a legitimate chance of making noise in the playoffs.